Welcome to the CrossFit Soul Rebel podcast. It's yet to be officially named, but this is our first episode. I'm Ben Collins, one of your hosts, and this is
Hayley Adams, another one of your hosts.
Two hosts. Today we're going to be covering the CrossFit Open, all things, and explaining what it is, how we're going to be running it in our affiliate, and answering questions, doing predictions, sharing some of our personal experiences with it.
Yeah. Before we start too, just on the name, we want your suggestions on what you think our podcast should be called. So let us know in the gym, or I think I'll put a question box on Instagram again, so you can put your good podcast name suggestions on there. So yeah, we can have a good podcast name.
Yeah, and if we get a good one, we'll pick a winner and we might put some sort of prize together or feature you on the podcast.
Yeah,
maybe
you can
even.
be our first guest. How about that?
Lots to look forward to. Let's kick it off. So I'm going to sort of explain what the CrossFit Open is. We'll try not to make it too lengthy, but basically the CrossFit Open is the beginning of the CrossFit Games season. So this is a worldwide competition that is hosted in CrossFit affiliates all around the world, and there are various age groups and from teens to different masters categories, as well as adaptive divisions, and then you've got the open age men and women as well as teams. So this is the starting point for everyone. As they progress through the different stages, it kind of starts to branch off into different things, but that's kind of the structure of what this is and how it begins. After the CrossFit Open, we then take individuals and teams to what's called the quarterfinals. And this is also run in affiliates around the globe, but now you're kind of grouped into different regions around the world. So for us here, it's the Oceania region, which includes some of the islands and New Zealand as well. So they're the main areas. And for the individuals, it's the top 25% that go through, male and female.
Yep.
For the teams, I think it's the same.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
I think it is. They've changed things this year a little bit. So I think top 25% teams go through as well. From your region, that goes for the masters and all the different masters divisions, which are like 35 to 40, 40 to 45, and so on. And then you get to 65, and it's like 65 plus. So they'll be happening at the same time this year, which
Masters
I think
and individuals
is like in April at some point. So we should have quite a few people from our gym qualifying, and we'll go into more detail from there, as well as the teens divisions as well, which I don't think we'll have anyone competing in here. But from the quarterfinals, they take a certain number. For individuals, I think it's top 40 men and women, and maybe the top 30 teams, then progress to the semi-finals. The numbers for the Masters are a little bit different. They're based on worldwide at that point, so I think it's a larger number. Semi-finals for the Masters is also done in affiliates, and then they progress to the CrossFit Games from there, which they're doing a little different this year. Usually the Masters compete at the actual CrossFit Games with all the open age individuals and teams, but they sort of do it before the Games kicks off. This year it's totally separate event, and there's more qualifying spots and things like that. But for all the individuals, all the big dogs, big guns, hopefully Hayley Adams here will be competing at the semi-finals this year in the top 40. They'll go and compete at the Torium Pro, which is held in Brisbane each year. And from there they take the top, I think three. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 3. Individuals and teams, they go to the CrossFit Games, which is the big show. They're looking for the fittest in the world. That's the title that it's given. There's big cash money up for grabs. It's about $250,000 for the winners, and obviously other financial incentives along the line. Like if you win an event, you get, I don't know, $3,000 or something like that. So
yeah, and that's going to be held in Texas this year. So it's moved, new location. Will be fun to watch. And then I think the Masters and the teens, they're held somewhere else at a different time. So yeah, it's a new year for all the things going on CrossFit Games.
So yeah, it's a big event, obviously culminating in the CrossFit Games, the fittest on earth. It's an amazing event. If you haven't seen it, there's you can go and check it out on YouTube, and there's a bunch of really cool docu-series. So if you want to get fired up and excited about the Open and the season, then go and check out some of those docos.
You could just Google CrossFit anything and there's a million things that come up. So
circling back to the Open, this is like the grassroots level though. This is for everybody. Within the Open, you know, those different divisions, there's also prescribed RX, and then there's like scaled variations, and they've even got what's called foundations, which is really, really entry level. So there really is something for everyone. No matter your ability, you can definitely do it. If you're carrying like some injuries and things like that, might be something to consider. But outside of that, pretty much anyone can do it. If you've got specific questions about yourself, I'd advise come and talk to one of the coaches independently, and we'll give you our best advice around if we think it's something you'll get something out of.
Yeah, but I think the Open's pretty cool because it's like in the gym here, like everyone does the same workout or a variation of the workout every day, but with the Open, you get to do the same workout or the same variation of the workout as the actual fittest on earth, like as the person who's going to win the CrossFit Games. So that's pretty cool. It's a good reason to do it, just so you can say you did the same workout as them.
Yeah, and you can measure yourself against your peers in the gym. You can measure yourself worldwide against people doing it scaled or in your masters divisions and things like this. So there's lots of variables in terms of, you know, who you can measure yourself against. And for those doing it, you know, for the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th time, you can obviously try and see some sort of progression each year and use that as a catalyst within your own training for your accountability and pursuit of improvement.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, so that's the rundown of the CrossFit Open. We're going to just quickly touch on how we're going to run the Open in here. So obviously it's can be a little bit difficult to fit everybody in and get it done since you have to be judged on these workouts. But how we're going to run it is we're going to be doing it on Saturdays, Saturday mornings. So we're going to have two CrossFit Open sessions. So 7 a.m. and then 8:10 a.m. And within that session, most likely we'll have, depending on the workout, it's hard because we don't know exactly what it is, but most likely we'll have 2 heats run within that session. So like you'll probably pair up with someone. I'll do the workout first, Ben will judge me, and then in the second half, Ben will do the workout and I'll judge him. And obviously we'll go through a warm-up, stuff like that as well. So that'll run at 7 a.m. and 8:10 a.m. on a Saturday. And then if you can't make that time, we've got a few other options. So you can complete it in Friday and Sunday open gyms. And potentially if you can't make that too, we do have a few options on, like, say, a Monday, but you've got to reach out to us for that. You've got to sort of organise your own judges. Yeah,
and for those who are registered for the Open, obviously you need to be judged in those sessions. So on the Saturday morning, we'll try and pair people who are, you know, registered for the Open, but you can come along and do the Open workout even if you're not registered. And if you want to come and test it out in the Open gym, same thing. You don't have to have a judge. Although we think it's worthwhile, because if you want to do it down the track, you need to learn to get judged. And get used to being upheld strictly on movement standards, which is challenging for some to adapt to.
Yeah, it is interesting being judged for the first time. Like, I'm okay. I know I'm okay, like, during the Open being judged, but yeah, it is funny. Sometimes you can get thrown off a little bit when someone's there, like, literally counting your reps, and it's different to just like in a CrossFit class where you're doing it yourself. Like, obviously the coaches are watching you, but we're watching everyone. So,
just on the judging, you know, we will do our best to try and create really consistent judging across the board. So we'll encourage you guys to count reps out loud. It's not a requirement that judges do that, but it makes life a lot easier for the athlete and a lot less likely for the athlete to have one count in their head, the judge have another, and they're at different places, and then all of a sudden, you know, the athlete gets really thrown. So at least if the judge is counting out loud, I think it's personally easier for them to keep track. The athlete knows where they're at too. And then they can make adjustments on the fly as needed. So little things like that, and there'll be more details we go into the morning of the Open each time. But it's really important that those doing the Open are familiar with the movement standards. The workout comes out on a Friday, and so do all the standards. And we'd encourage you to watch the videos, read the movement standards so you're familiar, because Saturday morning things are going to happen pretty quick. It's really easy to, if you haven't been exposed to that, the Friday night before, that you're going to miss something or be uncertain, and it could result in you finding the workout more challenging, or you're judging someone and then you might negatively influence someone within a workout as well.
Yeah. So with that, so when we're doing it on Saturday mornings, as Ben said, you don't need to be registered in order to do it on a Saturday morning, but we will be working to like for the most part, the three sort of standards that the open workouts set. So whether that's RX, so you're doing the hardest version of the workout, then there's the next step down, which is scaled, and then we also have the foundations. So everyone in the gym will be able to do an option that suits them. But yeah, you got to kind of have a look at the different options and choose the one that's going to suit you the best to complete the workout within. So that's how we'll run it on a Saturday morning. We're also going to do, just most of the members know, but we're doing the Friday night lights on the very first Friday. So me and Ben and Coach Katie, we're going to hit the workout for you guys to watch. That way you can kind of get a little bit of an insight into how it goes. We're going to be judged. You'll see how people are judging us. And yeah, it'll just be a little fun throwdown, see who wins. Any bets?
Oh,
probably
I'm
Ben.
going to put my money on Hayley. The way Katie's going, I'll probably come last. So that's going to be a little challenging for me to swallow. But, fingers crossed I get something that falls right in my strengths and Hayley doesn't have too many weaknesses, but on the lower side of her ability would be great. Then I've got a chance of maybe pushing her at least.
Ben's hoping for max strict handstand push-ups.
Yeah, just one max set of strict. Done.
Yeah.
That's the perfect
workout.
Followed
by a max handstand hold.
I could put up a decent worldwide score, I think, with that.
So that's how we'll be doing it in here. For the quarterfinals, we'll touch on that a little bit. But yeah, more information will come out for that after. So that's going to be held, there's team quarterfinals and individual quarterfinals, and they're both held in April. I'm not 100% sure about the teams, but for the individuals, it's over 6 days, and you'll complete, like, in the past, it's been 5 workouts over the one sort of weekend. So rather than doing one a week, that's like more workouts closer in time, which makes it that little bit more intense. And yeah, that will be in April. So top 25% move on to the quarterfinal stage. So we should have a fair few of our members qualify for that this year, which would be really awesome. The quarterfinals does have a further cost, so it's usually $50 US, which will be a fair bit more Australian, but we love that for us.
75.
Yeah, $75 Australian. And just with, for you guys who think you will qualify for the quarterfinals, we are going to get you to complete the judges course, just because for the quarterfinals you do need a registered judge judging you. So keep that in mind. If you reckon you're going to qualify, get on and complete it. It takes about an hour. It does cost $10 US to register for that. And same goes for anyone. If you do want to sort of brush up on the standards, you can complete the judges course just to sort of see what the standards are for yourself completing it, and then also for when you're judging other people. So yeah, that's the quarterfinals. I don't know if we want to talk any more about that or...
Yeah, just on the judges course, if you decide to do it, just so you know, you've got to do the whole thing in one hit. And it took me about an hour and a half to do. It's pretty straightforward for the most part, but there are some tricky judging questions in there where you got to count reps and then put scores up. But anytime you get an answer wrong, you can just redo it. So, note down answers as you go, because if you get it wrong, then you won't forget what you already answered. But yeah, just be aware. I would say for the average member, it's more like 2 to 2.5 hours to get through. So you do need a little bit of time up your sleeve if you are going to do it. Again, it's required for those that are going to participate in quarterfinals. At this stage, we don't know the full logistics of it because we don't know exactly how many workouts and how many people are going to qualify. However, know that we will have pockets of time to get the workouts done. And if you're going to be completing them, you're going to have to be able to make those pockets of time, because we don't have the capacity to just make it work for every individual on a different schedule and just absorb, incredible amounts of times, different classes and stretch our coaches who are also going to be participating. So, we'll do our best to make it work for those that qualify, but as we get closer, we'll know more information and we'll be able to map it all out and give you the options. And if it works, awesome. And if it doesn't, you might be able to fit some of it in and then test others at other times and just sort of see how you would have stacked up.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Open and the quarterfinals. I reckon now we'll sort of move on. That's all the boring information.
Yeah.
Let's sort of have a chat. What's your favourite Open workout that you've ever done, Ben?
So my favourite one is one that we did in intervals recently, actually. It's 15.3. It's an AMRAP in 12 minutes. I think it's 7 ring muscle ups, 50 wall balls, 100 double unders. So that was my favourite workout ever because I did really well on it in 2015. I think I placed 388th worldwide, which is probably my highest individual placing. I don't know what your highest individual placing is.
I have no idea.
It's probably higher than that.
Oh, probably not. Maybe this year.
Yeah, so possibly it is. But anyway, that was my favourite one. I was really fit back then. And I like that combination of movements.
Yeah.
How about you, Hayley? What's your favourite?
Well, I've got a few. Like my favourite Open workout I reckon I wrote down would be 22.1, which was the AMRAP. We also did it recently in here. The AMRAP of wall walks. It was like 3 wall walks, 12 dumbbell snatch, and like 15 box jump overs. And I think I liked it because we did it next to each other and I just like smoked Ben. And it was honestly so fun. He was dying. I was fine at the end. I don't think it was like my best result ever, but it was good fun. And yeah, I don't know. That was a fun time, maybe for me.
One word that comes to my mind when I think of that workout is lame.
Lame?
Because
oh, come
it was
on.
super boring and
I didn't find
horrible.
it boring.
But anyway, Hayley's into that sort of thing. So.
Well, I've got a few others though. I would say, for quarterfinals workouts, I would say that I've got 2 favourites. One would be from 2022 when we did the other total. So that was max, squat clean, bench press, and overhead squat. And that was so fun in here. We had a good crew doing the quarterfinals, and I'm pretty sure I like PB'd all 3 of those lifts, which I don't like ever PB anymore. So that was 3 PBs in one day was like pretty cool. And yeah, cleaned over 90 for the first time. Tessa got squashed by a bar. It was all pretty fun.
That was really fun.
Year.
And that was the first quarterfinals they've done in this style, and what was it? Second.
But first one with a big group.
Yeah, we had a big group. That was a lot of fun. Everyone did really, really well overall. I think everyone placed inside the top 150.
Yeah.
And then Hayley was a bit higher than that, like top 60 maybe or something. I might have been 80th or something, but it was really good fun and everyone did an awesome job. I don't have a favourite quarterfinals workout per se, but I think there's a lot of cool workouts in the quarters. They suit me better than the Open workouts because they're a bit higher skill and heavier weights and less just raw stamina and endurance, which isn't my biggest strength. So
what's your least favourite workout?
Least favourite is anything with thrusters.
Really?
I hate them. I absolutely hate them. They crush me. I've only done okay on a couple of thruster workouts when I've been really fit, but outside of that, I can't stand thruster workouts. They always bury me and just I feel like I'm dying after them. So
I like thruster workouts. I'd say my least favourite was 23.2 last year, the shuttle run and burpee pull-up workout, just because Ben was like, start hot and stay hot, and I am like the queen of pacing workouts, so start hot equaled red line and actually nearly die. So that was awful.
But she did well on it. So
yeah, and I thrusted like 80.
Bad,
I thrusted 80 after, which was a pretty solid effort, but yeah, I don't know. That's coming up in our program soon, and I definitely... Oh, no, it's not. That's a different one. Oh, I forgot about the other shuttle run workout too. That could be my least favourite as well.
The wall ball rope climb.
Yeah, wall ball rope climb. I don't know.
You haven't got a good...
Hopefully this year there's some shuttle runs and I can get some redemption.
Still did okay with it. You just don't like it when you're hurting, which I don't understand because I just hurt like shit every workout.
Yeah. I don't like redlining. So they're our favourite and least favourites. We'd love to know yours. If you let us know. If you listen to this, come tell us in the gym what your favourite and least favourite open workout is. What are your workout predictions, or what are you excited to see? Movements?
Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious we're going to see some different stuff because Dave Castro's basically alluded to that and said the first workout is going to be something that's never been done before, and there's only so many workout styles that you can go through, but definitely we're going to see a movement that hasn't been done in the Open before. It may have been done at quarterfinals levels or something. In fact, I'd probably say pretty unlikely it's a completely brand new untested movement, but it could be. I think crossovers. I think we'll see crossovers in there. Bar pullover or burpee bar pullover are definitely high on the predictability list.
I reckon there'll be a lifting complex. I feel I don't know, I wrote down snatch. We haven't really done a heavy lift that's there was heavy snatches in the workout last year, but there's got to be some sort of lift always, surely. So I don't know. Hopefully it's not a snatch because, I'm going to be good at snatches by then anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Maybe we'll see something a little bit different with a dumbbell. Maybe they'll bring the kettlebell swing for the first time ever. But outside of that, all the movements are kind of being done on a barbell, and we've seen shuttle runs come in, so they could definitely pop up again.
Do you reckon there'll be a repeat? We didn't have a repeat last year. Actually, yeah, we did. The first one was a repeat.
Yeah.
That was a good workout.
There's generally always a repeat, and it's not going to be week 1. It might be week 2 or 3.
Yeah.
This
Unless,
year, but
you know what I was thinking?
Do that.
What I was thinking was that they might do 2. Put 2 open workouts together in the
Sandwich
one.
them.
Well, I don't know about, but I don't know. I feel they could just mix it up and go I don't have any good examples of what they could be, but that's what I was thinking. I'm maybe they could repeat 2 in the one.
Yeah. Maybe they'll put Fran in there, which they've never done. They've done lots of spin-offs of Fran. They've never just put Fran on its own some. So we'll see.
That's a good word. All right.
Yeah, there's lots of different options there. What would be cool too, I think we'll share a little bit of our own CrossFit journey experiences in the Open. So, when did you do your first Open? How many are you up to?
Well, technically I did the Open in 2019, which I believe was the 2020 Open, but I did it scaled and I crushed it scaled. I got my very first kipping pull-up in that Open. And I'm pretty sure I clean and jerked maybe 50 kilos. I didn't know what a squat clean was though. I remember the people at my gym being just squat it. And I had no idea what a squat clean was. So I was just power cleaning the bar. But I did that. And then the next year I did it RX and qualified. I think that was the first year they had quarterfinals. So qualified for quarterfinals, which was fun. I did quarterfinals and that was fun. And then the next year I did it again, did quarterfinals again. And then last year, and now this year. So how many is that? Is that 5?
I think so.
I'm old news now.
You're starting to become experienced. It takes a good 5 years of doing CrossFit to really be experienced. But I've done a few more Opens, but not heaps more because I have had some breaks in between. But I did my first one in 2011. I wasn't registered because I'd literally opened the gym 2 weeks before, and so my priorities at the time were the business and getting that started, and it wasn't right to sort of run the Open when it was the first year that they'd done it, and I'd literally had 25 members, and everyone was brand new to CrossFit. So that year we kind of skipped it, but the following year, 2012, I did it. 2013, I missed 2014 through injury, and then I did 2015. I always placed fairly well in them. At that stage, they never did a quarterfinals. It was the Open, and then you had to finish early on top 60, then it went to top 48, then it went to top 30, and you'd go straight through to what now is the semi-finals, which used to be called regionals. So I was always pretty close to that mark, never quite made it. And then I had a break from 2016, 17, I think 18, I sat them all out. And then I started doing them again just for fun in 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. So now I'm 24, I don't know how many that's up to, but Yeah, I sort of participated a little bit in that gap from 2016 to 2019, but I didn't either register or didn't do all of the workouts. So, yeah, my personal experience was always a lot of pressure because I was trying to perform at a really high level while also running my entire gym through it and organising all that, which is a tricky combination. So, bit of a love-hate relationship with it because there was a lot of ups, but there was also downs along the way. For most people, though, I think that it's something that you can get a lot out of if you've got the right kind of mindset and approach around it, and your expectations are not based around your results, but they're based around your efforts. And that took me several years to learn the hard way. Now I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, even though I'm not sort of performing at the level I have in the past. So, yeah, it's definitely something that take note of your mindset coming in, set realistic expectations around your efforts and not so much your results. And I think you'll all stand to benefit lots, even if you have workouts that, are disappointing for different reasons. There'll be something to gain from that, learn from that, and there'll be wins that you have along the way as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, try and just focus on your effort. I find people at least for myself, if I put a lot of pressure on myself, I'm often don't perform to my best ability, and then I find myself either having to repeat a workout or kicking myself because I know I could do better. But in the workouts where I'm just like, all right, I'm excited, I'm gonna have fun, I perform really well, and I'm happy with happy enough with my efforts. So yeah, I reckon definitely don't put heaps of pressure on yourself. Just have fun and soak it all up. Like, you're all in here together doing it with each other, with your mates. You can sort of have a bit of friendly competition, and it's just fun. Like, really sign up. It's good fun. There's not it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Everyone will surprise themselves at some point, especially newer people to it. Like, the amount of people who get their first double under, pull up, whatever it is, snatch a weight they've never done. It happens all the time with newer to intermediate people in particular. And then those that are a bit more experienced as well. It's what have you done in training to learn and grow? And then how well can you apply that to get your best results in the open? So there's, something for everyone. In terms of preparation for the open, we start to skew our training a little bit more toward that. But, things that you can do is learning to pace in workouts, learning to follow a workout and have a strategy or around how you're going to approach it, how you might break up reps. All the coaches talk about this stuff every class, every session. We give you some tips and advice. It's really up to you to try and take that and implement it so that you're learning and growing. And then you can take those strategies into the CrossFit Open workouts and maximize your efforts within that as well.
This is a perfect opportunity to try and be a bit tactical, because I actually remember in my first Open being actually saying to someone, I have never thought of a workout like this. I'm talking tactics on a workout, because I would just come in and just do the workout, whatever. And now here the people are telling me break this up this way, break this up that way. But it made such a difference. And then now every single workout I do, I think about in depth. And if you did the pacing workshop 2 weeks ago, you would know we spent a lot of time pulling workouts apart. And that's what we do on the daily. We program the workouts, we pull them apart before we even give them to you. When we look at workouts that we're about to do, we pull them apart, look at the different bits of it, how we'd break it up, and it is actually pretty tactical. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, and there's combinations of movements that make things harder. There's, small amounts of reps, large amounts of reps, more rounds, less rounds. There's all sorts of things that go into it, and they all play into how an individual will approach a workout, because obviously we all have our own strengths and weaknesses, but as you start thinking about that, it gets quite simple over time, and you sort of know where your limits lie and where you can push them and where you need to rein them in. But I'll give you an example of a workout I did years ago. I think it was in 2015, and it was power cleans and handstand push-ups. And it was you do 3 reps of one and 3 of the other, and it's sort of the reps would creep up. They'd go up, I think, every round on the handstand push-up, and on the cleans it was 3, 3, 6, 6, 9, not they'd go up every 2 rounds, something like that. Anyway, I did the workout 3 times in 4 days because I wasn't happy with my initial results. They brought a new handstand push-up standard in, which we'd never had, and that did make them a lot harder to adapt to. But yeah, wasn't happy with my first result. Did it again, did worse. And then the next day was the last day I could do it, and I was like, stuff it, I'm going one more time. I'd seen someone talk about a really respected CrossFitter, Chad McKay, back in the day, been to the games, who I'd known, and he was like, do all the handstand push-ups in 3. Just do set of 6, 3, 3, set of 9, 3, 3, 3, set of 12, 3, 3, 3. And I did that, and I added like 20 reps to my score. So I went from like being like, I'm good at handstand push-ups, big sets, not happy, broke them up, did heaps better, and then that was like quite a good score for me in the Open. So yeah, sometimes biting off little amounts is better.
Yeah. I think we should get into some questions. This first question that we have kind of ties into what we're talking about anyway. So we put questions out to you guys, seeing if you had anything in particular that you wanted to hear from us. And so we're just going to list them off and go through them. So first one was from Hendrik. He asked, how do you prepare both mentally and physically? So obviously we've been talking about the pacing and breaking workouts apart, stuff like that. That's kind of the mental side. Physically, on Thursdays, or Fridays, we're going to start having sort of lower impact workouts. So we've been doing the open workouts in the gym, and then when it actually comes to completing the open workouts on Fridays, you can either choose to rest, you can do the low impact workout.
Yeah, and say you're doing the workouts on a Saturday, a really good approach would be to do the workout on a Saturday, rest on a Sunday, or do like some active recovery type stuff. You can come to open gym, do some really low intensity machines, some mobility, jump on go board, something like that. Then on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, basically train as normal, but obviously putting quality of training above intensity, because one thing we don't want to do is like get a niggle or an injury that then really stuffs us, because we're kind of just trying to keep our foot on the pedal and not train as smart as we could. Thursday's a really good day to have as a rest day, and then Friday coming in and training, as Hayley mentioned, it's going to be lower impact, lower skill, and you just want to feel like you're working at like 60%. So it's really not intense, but it gets your body moving, it prepares you for activity the following day, and you're not coming in after having sat around for a day or two and then having to try and get moving. So that's what I'd recommend. That changes a bit if you're doing the workout, say on the Friday or the Sunday, but you can kind of adapt that same strategy, just change those days.
Yep, and we spoke previously about preparing mentally, so just making sure that you're coming into it with the sort of mindset that you're in it to put your best effort in, you're in it to have fun, just sort of test your own fitness rather than really like getting nitty-pitty on the leaderboard and I don't know, like putting pressure on yourself.
Outside of that too, just like try and eat clean, try and get good sleeps. Obviously like can train consistently leading in. We're not that far off now, but it goes for 3 weeks. So like, you can still be building through the Open as you go. Yeah,
especially, and a good way to prepare is making sure that when we have CrossFit Open workouts programmed in class, is that you come in and you kind of hit it as if you would hit an open workout. So you put a really good effort in, you try and get your best score so that you're giving yourself a little bit of practice under that intensity. It is hard to match like actual open workout intensity when you've got a judge there, you've got people cheering you on in class, but you can get close to it and it does give your body a little bit of like an idea of what that's going to be like. Because often the open workouts are quite high intensity, they've got lots of volume. So yeah, it's good to come in and try and hit those with a pretty good effort.
Yeah, that's not so much of a shock to the system.
Yeah.
So next we had a couple of questions from Byron. The first one was around judging and standards. So do you think there'll be a higher expectation of hitting standards? What do you think will mean for athletes? Found loopholes, grey areas in movements. We'll be seeing more no reps this year because of the new judges course. It's not a new course, first of all. It's been around for years. They just update it, change it slightly each year. I can tell you firsthand that the standards that go on now around the world are much higher than what they were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, like it was a lot scrappier, messier. There weren't judges' courses, but people just didn't move as well and weren't as experienced. Now there's so much more experience around CrossFit. Coaches are better. There's a lot more of the affiliates around that have been there for a long time. And I actually think the standard is really high across the board. There's always going to be people, whether it's through being deliberate or whether it's just being naive around things or lazy, there's always going to be gyms and people that don't uphold the standards as well. I would not waste time thinking about them.
No.
At the end of the day, even if they, shave range of motion and, there's other things that they can do to kind of like cheat, I guess. The fittest people are always going to prevail, regardless of that. And when we get to the next stage and so on, you've got to eventually like video things. And so if those people get into the higher level of trying to get there by cheating, they're going to get caught out more than likely. And it's not going to work in their favor. So yeah, bit of a cynical question, Byron, but I don't think it's as big a deal as maybe you're thinking. And for us, we always try and uphold a really high standard.
Yeah.
Now, there are grey areas. We can't have an expectation that every member judging is going to do that perfectly, because even at a high level, that's not always the case. But we do our best. The coaches are going to be moving around, watching standards and listening to judges and pulling them up where we can to try and enforce and have the highest standards possible within our gym. And that's really all we can do.
Yeah, and we'll be touching on standards and stuff in the open workshop that's coming up. So if you feel like if you're planning on doing the open and you feel like you're going to get caught out by no reps, come to that workshop and we'll go over like ones that are often tricky, like wall ball depths and double unders, handstand push-ups, blocking them all the way out, stuff like that. Come along to that workshop. The other thing too, Byron, is actually when it gets to the top level, which I don't know if this question you're probably talking about below the top, but like in the quarterfinals, in order to actually qualify for the semifinals, you've got to produce videos of your workouts. So for those people, say they cheat their reps, they qualify for the quarterfinals, they cheat their reps too, they qualify for a semifinal. CrossFit actually goes through and looks at the workouts and counts the reps. People get they get penalties
if
and
they've had a certain amount of no reps. If it's not videoed properly, etc., they can just have that score basically terminated. So
so they do their CrossFit does a pretty good job as to making sure that the standard of reps and making sure there's as little cheating. Like there's probably still people out there cheating, but like who cares? We do our best in here. And
at the end of the day, the thing that's going to raise that standard the most is individuals taking responsibility for their own movements, and then when they're judging people, is trying to do their best to uphold those standards as well. And like a brand new person doing the open for the very first time, it's like, I'm not saying give them a heap of leeway, but like jumping down their throat and being like no rep, no rep, no rep, it's like that's not doing good things for the evolution of the sport and the inclusivity. You can say to someone, hey, get lower, and then they don't, and it's like, okay, that's a no rep, and so on. And there's different ways to go about it, but someone like Hayley, if I'm judging her, I'm holding her to a really high standard. Like, it's not about her feelings, because if she doesn't learn to do it properly, she's going to get caught out later down the track. So, there's that to consider too, but ultimately I think overall it's pretty good in general.
Yeah.
Byron's second question was about the first workout and the hints that Dave Castro gave. We've talked about this a little bit already. He says, do you think we're seeing a maturing evolution of CrossFit and the CrossFit Open? What new aspects do you think we'll likely encounter? I do think it's matured. It used to go for 6 weeks, and that was horrible as an affiliate owner to run and be involved in.
And as an athlete, having to be stressed every weekend for 6 weeks.
By week 3 or 4, everyone was over it. And then it went to 5 weeks, and then I think, I don't know, we might have gone from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
But definitely in the last year or two, I've seen that it's much more inclusive and it's much more accessible, and it's easier for, because if you've got to be around for 5 weeks and hit a workout within a time frame, if you've got holidays and stuff and there's no gyms, it's really tricky. So I think it has, and I think that they're doing a better job of having workouts that test the fittest people and also allow newer intermediate athletes to do more of the workouts as prescribed as well.
Yeah,
in terms of the movements, we've kind of touched on that already, so we'll wait and see.
What do you think? Let us know what you reckon that first workout will be. Cool. Next question comes from Sean Sini, or Small Sean, or whatever you want to refer to him as. What's your training schedule look like in the days leading into the Open/competition? So we touched on this a little bit. I'll just touch on personally what I plan to do, which might be similar for somebody else who is planning on qualifying for the quarterfinals. I plan to train pretty normally through the Open. So I'll train normal all week. I kind of have a quiet day on Thursday anyway. I'll hit the Open workout on Friday. I'll train the rest of the day Friday, train Saturday, and I'll do that throughout the Open. So more for me, I'm thinking when it comes to the quarterfinals, what am I going to do for that? And maybe for you, Sean, too, you plan to compete in the quarterfinals, how you sort of leading up to that, which that's where you got to look at doing a bit of like a taper or a deload week, something like that, which I get help from people smarter than me when it comes to that.
So yeah, if you're in Haley's boat and you know you can just hit the Open workout once and you're going to finish in top 25%, no dramas, then you can definitely do it like that. For those that, either might not make that or are on the cusp of making the quarters, then you definitely want to follow that.
What we were talking about before.
I mentioned earlier in the podcast. So yeah, it's a little bit individual, but for most people it'll be like Monday to Wednesday train, Thursday either rest, low intensity, Friday either rest, low intensity, hit the workout hard on a Saturday.
Rest Sunday and repeat.
We really want to avoid repeats.
Not repeat the workout, as in repeat the week.
Yeah.
Repeating workouts sucks. Yeah. Seriously, guys, put your best effort in the first attempt because, repeating workouts is not a vibe.
No, if you repeat, you're basically cooked for the week and you struggle to do any form of training. So.
And then you think about it, if you've done the Open workout on Saturday, then you come back, you try and hit it again on Monday, you're creeping into like that next week where you need to hit the workout again on the Saturday. So it's, just come in, be ready to attack it. I know some things happen where you don't get your best effort that first time, but try and just hit it hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question from Stevie J, RX or scaled? How to choose the best option? This is a great question. So for those that don't know, like you can do a mixture of doing like the scaled versions of the workouts and the RX, and you get scored according to that. Anyone who does a scaled workout will finish behind anyone who does it RX. So even if you only do one rep of a workout as RX,
you'll be above someone who finishes scaled.
Everybody's scaled. Now, if your goal is to finish as high as you possibly can in the Open, that's a good strategy, even if you're going to get one rep only in the workout. Now, in terms of getting the most out of the Open, like physically and getting a good challenge and stuff, that's quite debatable. I think a lot more people would be best to pick the
scaled option.
The option that they can actually do the workout and get the kind of score.
Fitness, and you're actually testing your fitness then.
Where you're working hard and you're not just doing 2 or 3 reps and then getting stuck and then just kind of standing around, or just say it's a ring muscle up early in the workout and you just attempting and missing. So look, again, individually, that's something we're happy to chat to you guys each week as the workout comes up and give you our opinion, but you will be able to choose at the end of the day based on your goals.
And when it comes to scale workouts, like back when I did my first Open and I did it scaled, like I actually thought it was pretty cool to see where I just looked at the scale leaderboard by itself and saw where I racked up on that. And I actually did pretty well, considering I was someone who knew nothing about CrossFit. But I was able to complete the workouts. I got a good workout in on my Saturday. Whereas if I had done the RX, majority of the workouts, I wouldn't have been able to deadlift. One of them had deadlifts and handstand push-ups and handstand walking. I wouldn't have been able to do any of it. So I would have just sat there and got 0 or 1 as a score. So I got a lot out of my first Open workout doing it scaled, and I actually really enjoyed looking at the scaled leaderboard and seeing where I was up against people at the same level that I was at, rather than sort of comparing myself to people who were 17 million steps above me. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Next one. What is best practice for using lifting therapy dogs, puppers between sets? How many hugs, licks, treats, patting is optimal? That question's from Pat. No surprises there. A bit of a weird one, but that's totally optional and up to you if there's dogs around.
Yeah, you got to make sure you organise dogs being here because you don't even have a dog, Pat.
That helps with your best efforts, and by all means, go and get as many licks as you want. There won't be a lack of sweat, so I'm sure getting licked won't be too challenging.
Personally, I'm not going to be taking any licks, pat, dog breaks during my open workout though.
Nah, neither. Next one, what if I can't do all the movements they're programming? This is from Kathy.
Yep, so there's, as we've spoken about, the 3 different levels. So majority of the people in the gym will be able to hit the foundation level, which is, they've added that in and they make that super accessible to everyone. So I know last year we had a few of our members hitting that foundation level and it was super accessible movements. There wasn't really stuff that people were getting stuck on. So if you're even looking at the scale and you're like, yeah, that's a bit too hard for me because sometimes there's pull-ups in there's stuff like that. The foundations levels that they have added just your normal progressions that we do in the gym. So they've got like ring rows, they've got jumping pull-ups, and yeah, stuff that's accessible to majority of members. If there's movements in there that you can't do, you can either take it as like the option we were talking about with Stevie J's question, where if you do RX and you want to do a harder option you can't do, you just get less reps and it's fine. Or we can just like, at the end of the day, you want to get a good workout in. So maybe you're not going to submit a score for that workout and we can just modify it for you. But yeah, you're just not going to be able to submit your score. So at the end of the day, you've got to think about what you want to get out of the workout, whether you're really caring about the leaderboard, where you stack up, or if you want to come in and you want to feel like you've worked hard, then we can just make up a workout like we do every day in class with different progressions, and maybe you don't submit a score for that one. So
plenty of options.
Yeah.
Advice for first timers, focus area with no time left. This is from Neil.
You don't have no time left, Neil. You've been working hard.
Yeah, you've got to be a bit more optimistic, Neil. You've been training for quite a while now and hitting some of the open workouts with programs. So the preparation started. Listen and take notes to everything we've talked about so far, and you're well on your way to putting in a really good first effort performance in the open this year.
Yeah, and just take it like you're going to have fun, all right? So don't stress too much about like doing really well. Just come in and sort of think of this as like a starting open. So you've already come so far from when you started a few months ago at the gym. Like you've learned kipping pull-ups, you've learned double unders, you've learned all these skills that you can utilize in the open. And then this is like a starting point. And then when it comes to next open, you can compare yourself to yourself this year and see how far you've progressed. Because I know for you, at least, Neil, like in a year, you're going to have 1 million more skills. So that'll be pretty cool to see.
1 million more.
Well, I reckon maybe close, maybe like 5.
The next one, is that the real Hayley Adams from Wolf Den CrossFit? Yes, that's one of the real Hayley Adams.
The real.
The real. But there is another one who is from the US. Her first name's spelled a little different for those that don't know.
She's also 3 months younger than me, so I was the original, I'd say.
Yeah, she was the first CrossFit Hayley Adams.
Yeah.
The other
she's
one
just
has
been to the CrossFit Games a lot more than me, though.
Higher heights, but she's come for her in that sense. So
yeah. But
and then the last one's not really. It's not a question.
Statement.
It's a statement. No surprise here. It's from my brother Nick. But wow, who set up the amazing backdrop? Everyone involved deserves a shout out. Yes, thank you, Nick, for helping
and
put
Steve
the light
Harvey.
up. Thanks, Steve, and his brother Liam from SNL Carpentry for helping with the wall, the feature wall, and NGS Signs next door who built the sign.
Yep.
And then I guess this is kind of my idea and concept.
Oh,
and
shout out to Ben.
Shout out to me for the idea and helping.
Shout out to Hayley for
coordinate
being cool.
and put bits and pieces of it together. But yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you've all got something out of this. Thanks for jumping on board, Hayley, and being a part of it as well. We look forward to doing another one of these next month, and we don't know the topic yet, but if you've got ideas, you got things you want us to cover, please let us know.
We'd love to hear your feedback on everything. So how you thought the setup looked, tell us your name suggestions.
Exactly, yeah. If you've got a cool name for the podcast, let us know.
Want special guests? I know Webby's going to get in here soon.
Yeah, we have got one down the track planned for High Rocks, which we're going to feature Katie, who's going overseas to compete in the final a little later this year. Champs. So that's coming up. But outside of that, let us know. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
We look forward to you crushing the Open and being a part of that with you.
Yeah. Catch you later.